Hello, my name is Daniel Scroll, and I'm going to tell you a story about a woman named Veronica Nisbet, who was a St. John Ambulance VAD nurse during World War I. I'm going to tell you the who, what, when, wheres, and hows, and whys of her, and why she became a VAD and her life as a VAD within St. John. So let's begin her story. I went out to the surrounding area, around the Museum of the Order of St. John and St. John's Gate, to ask people what they know about the organisation and VADs. VAD is a voluntary aid detachment member of any organisation which St. John Ambulance and the Red Cross had during World War I. So my first question is, what do you know about St. John Ambulance?
I know that they're a private charitable organisation who operate first aid and ambulance services.
I know that they do first aid. I've had my first aid training through St. John.
Basically ambulances and various charities.
It was quite surprising how little people know about St. John Ambulance. So let's hear from one of our volunteers the history of the organisation.
St. John is a very old organisation. Our first hospital was built in Jerusalem around 900 AD, and we stayed in the Holy Land for quite a long while. However, back home in England, there were monasteries run by monks and nuns whose job it was to care for the sick and the needy in their communities. Henry VIII, however, closed all the monasteries in England, and so while the order continued in Europe, in England there was no more St. John. During the Victorian era, some people came together and decided that the time was right to restart an organisation that had dedicated itself to caring for its community and for providing a service to the people around them, but focused on the care elements and the first aid. The Industrial Revolution had occurred, and there were lots more people living together, meaning that there were more diseases, and also because of the industrialisation there were a lot more accidents.
Now that we know about the organisation, let's get on with telling the story about Veronica by talking to Hannah Agas and Chloe Pizer, two people who researched into Veronica on the project about her scrapbook.
We were getting a lot of inquiries at the museum about the role of St. John in the First World War, and it seemed right to commemorate the work of St. John, particularly as 45,000 St. John men and women served. Veronica's scrapbook was particularly interesting, that her scrapbook was the only one that utilised all different types of media. So there were photographs, cartoons, sketches, newspaper clippings. So we decided to use her scrapbook because it was a lot more engaging than some of the others.
Being able to tell that story through a personal view, so through Veronica's eyes, through Veronica's drawings and through Veronica's thoughts, and that drew me to this project.
So Veronica, like me, is from Northumberland, so when I discovered that obviously increased my interest in her, and she actually grew up just down the road from where I did.
So my topic was the hospital and its placement in France. I was also researching the hospital itself, so the different wards, the different operating theatres. There was a radiology department, there was a pharmacy, but I also researched how the hospital was funded. The hospital itself was funded completely by charitable donations. I just found it was amazing that the hospital itself ran from donations.
She was a very unusual woman for the time. She was single, and yet she still travelled extensively, both within the UK, but she also travelled to Paris where she studied at art school. She was very independent, which at that time, a woman of her social standing, she was middle class, she would not have been out and about unchaperoned, and she was. And so I thought it was quite modern of her and quite brave of her at the time.
So the most interesting thing that I found about Veronica was that she put a promising career in art on hold to help out during war efforts, to join her family. I found the passion that she put in her work in the hospital impressive and amazing, and all of those things I think build a certain character, and I think that is amazing.
And so that's the story of Veronica, her life as a VAD, and a little bit of insight from her people who did the project. So I leave this with you. Would you be brave enough to do what Veronica did? Would you want to go out and help people you don't know at all and not get anything in return?